What? What's up? Why are you filming me? What's going on? Don't look at this. My KD's terrible. What do you want?
It's time.
Oh, shit, for real?
It's happening.
Oh, fucking goddamn. Y'all, I gotta go! Oh, you broke it?
Yeah.
Oh no! Jesus, hello everybody and welcome to the podcast! You excited?
It is hard to describe this kind of moment. When you watch nothing but technology videos all day, you start to get a feel for how inadequate your equipment is. Luckily, I've had the chance to purge myself of all of this beginner, entry-level equipment, and we're moving up in the world. Jesus Christ, not like a 5D or anything. I'm not made of money. But we are upgrading our main camera to the Canon RP. Now, for anyone who knows, this is the entry-level R series Canon's new mirrorless line. So this one's going to have a lot of the features that my old T series wouldn't have, my old Panasonic G wouldn't have. Just a sensor difference between the Micro Four Thirds and full frame is just astronomical. It's going to help so much with just like the depth of field and everything like that. I mean, we're basically going from a glorified phone camera to something that professionals might actually use. Alright, it is a beautiful day out, as we can tell. Sun right on me, my cameraman's loving that. And we have a bit of a review to get to, would you call it that? First look, something exclusive. Along with this camera, got an SD card because we forgot ours at home, and a little filter for us as well. But that's not what you guys are here for. You've seen a card before. You've seen a filter before. You know what they do. We're here for the main show. Also, shout out to Mike's Cameras. We could have gotten this through Amazon, but we want to stick small. Mike's Cameras is really great here in the Denver. There's a couple locations in Colorado, a few more in California. So shop small, support local businesses. We paid maybe 20 bucks more in taxes, but it's well worth it. I was expecting a white box, but this is not bad at all. This is going to be a kit. So it's going to have the body itself and then the 24 to 105, which when it comes to Canon kit lenses, this is pretty good. So we got the plastic inside, this tray, the one battery. This is the same battery that the T6i has, and I imagine the T7 and T8. It's an okay battery, but when it comes to a full frame powerhouse like this guy, it's going to be limiting. And this is one of the things that the R has over the RP, is it has that E6 or whatever it's called, the big deal one that like everyone's all raving about. So this one, that's one of the compliments. But at the end of the day, what you're getting is a full frame mirrorless camera from Canon, body only 1,000 bucks. So a worthy upgrade in my opinion. I'll tease you a little bit. You got the camera lens. First impressions coming from the iconic 18 to 55. It's so smooth. It's so elegant. It's just, it feels right. It's got a 67mm thread, biggest thread I've ever worked with, which is like, at least this is correct size. You got the threading for the focal length, but you also have this control ring that not only can do manual focus, but can control other things on the camera, such as ISO, aperture, all that kind of thing. So you're going to have that baked into this one wheel right here. You got the focus control right there. and as well as the stabilizer. I'll tease you a little bit more. Let's look at the battery. Moving on to the start of the show, the Canon RP, already smaller than the best camera I've used before, but it's still full frame. Unfortunately, I'm a little wuss baby man, so I will not be showing you the sensor out here. Because of dust and all that stuff, but look at that body. One of the first disappointing things that's striking me, you no longer have that door on the side, like the R, I believe, still does, and all the T's and everything else that I've used before from Canon. It is going to be in the battery door, so that's just something to keep in mind. I'm completely littering, and I have a bag to put these things in, and I'm refusing to. You're still getting a lot of those key features, such as the flip-out screen. You got the OLED viewfinder right there. That's going to work amazing, just like it does on the Lumix G series that we've used a lot of. They're kind of right when they say it's not the same kind of grip. My pinky's completely missing there, and it has a new thread. So this is the RF, not the EF. A whole new series of threading on their lenses for their new series of mirrorless cameras. But there are adapters, they're hard to come by. They're 100 and 200, the ones made by Canon. For a camera upgrade, you're looking at USB Type-C built into the camera, as well as both a, let me double check, make sure I'm not saying falsities. You have both a microphone and a headphone out built into the camera. This is absolutely Canon's answer to the G series of cameras from Lumix, and worthy it is, absolutely worthy. We're just gonna put this stuff together. We're gonna go around the area, take some photos, take some video, and we can talk about it later. Oh yeah, work it, King. You can go now.
Make sure I at least look in focus. Okay. Here, we were recording on the Canon, looking at the screen. Here, we're recording on the Canon RP. Last time I checked, we should be in 4K. And that's why we got this pretty tight crop. This is actually its widest 24mm focal length. So this is what that looks like on the crop. The crop is still going to maintain a lot of quality because it is a full frame sensor, and it's only about a 1.6 crop, which would bring it down to about an APS-C sensor. So if you're recording 4K on a total APS-C sensor, then you're getting about the same quality. Another one is the remote live view. Can't use it right now because I'm already recording on the camera, but it lets you get a little idea of what you're doing when you're away from the camera, when you have to have it in a position like this. Some things I've noticed, unfortunately, manual focus. It's there, but it's not an available option. Like it says it, but it's not highlighted. So I don't know if you'd be able to control that or something like that. If I need to change something in the settings, it'll require more time. This is only day 2 with this camera. Audio quality, of course, I haven't listened to it. On a computer, it sounds pretty okay. It's passable. I'm not really recording audio at the moment. So now you get to hear exactly what this camera sounds like. As for the rest of the camera, the build quality is one of the things that's really stuck out to me so far. It is just such a solid feeling camera. A lot of people, like I was talking about in the unboxing, you're missing that extra grip, but I've been working with a Panasonic G7 and G8. It's got the same amount of grip. One thing they do right though is it gives you a bit more angle on it, so that way your hand's tipped a bit upwards and you're grabbing it a bit more. And depending on how you hold your camera, even this one can cover your pinky. If you keep your index finger up top so you're ready to change dials, anything like that, so you're extra ready on that trigger, you'd be just fine covering the rest of that. But ergonomically, it hasn't been an issue for me. Nothing's stuck out to me in that way, but I've also had some time with smaller mirrorless 4K cameras. And one of the biggest jumps you can tell just from the photos I took last night is the sheer amount of sensor space. Because you're talking about fairly high quality photos. The RAWs on this thing are taking up maybe 30 to 40 megabytes per piece, which I know isn't massive, but for what I've worked with so far, that is an improvement. We're going over 5 minutes here on 4K. I'm not noticing any issues. It's not cutting up the clips like my G7 would do. A lot of people who are used to these $2,000-$3,000 plus cameras will say, oh, this 4K is unusable, but it's really not, especially when you're coming from a G7 and a G8, which for their price points were hailed for their 4K. Even the G8 had a crop on its 4K, and you're talking about a crop on a 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor. And that 4K was absolutely usable. Of course, we haven't looked at the R yet. That's going to be another review down the road. And if Canon comes up with another mid-range $1,000 mirrorless 4K camera, I want to get my hands on that as soon as possible. This is a great way to get into Canon's their full sensor, full-size sensor, mirrorless cameras.
Welcome everybody to the show channel. I'm your host Coleman Erickson, and I can't play the piano. In today's video, we're talking about the Canon EOS RP, one of the newest full-frame mirrorless cameras from Canon. It's their cheapest entryway into this full-frame mirrorless lifestyle that I've been living, or at least been dreaming about with my Micro Four Thirds cameras for a while. And coming in at only $1,000 for just the body, and $13 for the lens bundle that we got here. It's one of the easiest ways to get into full-frame mirrorless. Now, there are some drawbacks. One of the most important is the crop on 4K. This is something that has been holding this camera and the R camera back for a while. And while they did correct it with the R6 and R5, those cameras, they're expensive. They start at about $25 and go up to $5,000. These are what most people are going to be looking at. And this footage you're looking at right here is coming right off of the Canon camera. This also has support for the EOS webcam utility, something that we'll be taking a look at in another video. And when it comes to mirrorless and when it comes to full frame, Canon's kind of been lacking. There's always been the 5D and the 1D and those real high-end DSLR cameras that have had the full frame, but mirrorless hasn't been a focus of Canon for a long time. I want to say their first mirrorless camera came out in 2018 or something, which were really late to the party when you look at other manufacturers such as Panasonic, who had been crushing it with their G line of cameras from the G7, the G8, and the GH4 and GH5. Those were staples when it came to mirrorless cameras. The only issue was the Micro Four Thirds sensor. While Micro Four Thirds performed a lot better than a lot of people were anticipating, it still doesn't give you quite where you're looking for in either an APS-C or a full frame. When you're talking about Micro Four Thirds, you're talking about a downgrade in most regards. It's harder to fit a lot of megapixels on there. You'd rarely see one with more than 20 or so megapixels. The G7 and G8 that we've been using for a long time are 16. But at the end of the day, when it comes to some casual photography, which these sub $1,000 cameras are kind of aimed towards, you're not really missing out a ton. And let's talk about that 4K crop. It's called about a 1.6 crop, and the way it's been described to me is you're getting about an APS-C size of sensor. But because of it being mirrorless and because of other things, you're also just losing a lot of focal length. So if you rely on wide video, on a wide focal length for recording, this is going to be a disappointment. Most of the time when I'm shooting, and especially right now, I'm shooting in 1080-60, which at least it does have 1080-60. I was really missing that on the T5 and T6i. But that crop, when you're talking about quality, you're not really sacrificing quality. The real issue just comes down to the amount of viewing angle you have. On this camera, when I was kind of looking at it, when I try to get an approximate distance, this is a 24-105 lens. At 24 millimeters, when you crop it in to the APS-C size, that 1.6 crop, you're looking at about 45 to 50 millimeters. So you're going from 24 to 45 to 50 just by cropping in. So if you're just talking photography, that's not a big deal. And depending on the kind of videos you're trying to shoot, which of course it's 4K, you're not going to do any other kind of thing besides videos in 4K. But when it comes to what you're looking to do with that, you're limited by it because you're automatically cropping in so much and getting rid of so much of the viewing angle. But at the end of the day, the quality is not that bad. Another one of the things you lose are the different kinds of focus. You keep that face tracking focus, which it seems to work pretty well. I have noticed a little bit of chasing in a few places, but overall, I'm not too disappointed with it. When it comes to the 4K crop, that's something that this entire series of cameras is suffering from. So if that crop's important, you could look at the APS-C size mirrorless cameras, the M50, the M6, but you're not getting that same R series of lens. You're getting the M series. And if you really want to stick with the R series, you want that full frame, you don't want the crop, you got to cough it up. You're looking at the Canon R6. That guy right now, from what I've seen, body only, you're looking between $2,000, $2,500. So pay up. Canon really be like, pay up though, pay up. There's going to be another video on the Canon RP. It's going to be about the Canon EOS webcam utility. I'm excited to put that out and just kind of show you guys this new exciting thing. Wow, can you step any louder? Thanks for watching today's eShow video. It's time to relax. It's time to unwind. And maybe watch some other content from us. I know you don't know us for the tech reviews, and if you do know us for the tech reviews, why? No one watches those videos. I don't even watch those videos. Maybe you should watch the other content. Like that guy right there. He could be fun. You don't know, check him out. Maybe that guy right there. Check him out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.